Since you've been employed at the college, what are some of your most memorable moments here?
There's a lot of them. I've been here 31 years. I'm the first automotive instructor to ever be on this campus. And most memorable moment. One of the moments that was fulfilling to me was that I was the first, or the automotive program here at Thomas Nelson was the first pilot program for the articulation program in the state of Virginia. This is where it started with the automotive program, and vertical and horizontal articulation with New Horizon Votech was kind of a breaking technology back then, and this particular program was picked as a pilot program to initiate that program. And another interesting moment that besides the nice comments and stuff is when I started here, the lab technician Zeke Broadley was here 1 year before me, and he retired a few years ago. And one Saturday I was giving a class here at Lone, and some people say when you're with a person a lot, you get to know the person, you get to be part of it. And I was putting things away on a Saturday afternoon about 4 o'clock, and literally I collapsed. My head spun, the building was just flipping all around me for no reason. I was just pushing a cart across the floor. It was Saturday afternoon, there was virtually nobody around the campus, and I crawled into my office, and I couldn't get to the phone. I couldn't dial the phone. My head was spinning. I grabbed the phone, pulled it on the floor, and the phone started ringing. And I answered the phone, and it was my lab assistant. He said, I was concerned about you, and I just thought I would call exactly the moment where I needed him. And he took over and called security and called the ambulance, and they came and got me and took to the hospital. So that's a very memorable moment for me, is just, you know, the personal interaction to a person I worked with for so long. And, you know, those are big moments, but some of the little moments where somebody make a comment about your program. There was a counselor over here a long time ago, I forget his name, he retired and went into real estate. And he made a statement. He said, I like to send people to your program. And I said, why is that? He says, because you people over there teach, and there's so many of them that don't. You know, and things like that just kind of lock in your brain, a compliment from somebody that really means it. So those are some of my more memorable moments. You know, there's a lot of them over 31 years, but at this point, those are the ones that stick out.
When a student came to the program?
Well, the first student I ever taught was at New Horizon Votech Center. And I've taught at New Horizon Votech Center, I taught at John Tyler Community College, I taught at Southside Community College, and I taught at Pocosin High School. In my first year of teaching, I walked into a classroom at New Horizon Votech Center, and I met a student there. And he asked me, how long will I be there? And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, I was teaching climate control, and he said, well, last year we lost 4 instructors. They said they left because there was nothing here. So I made him my assistant, and because he knew the program. And the other day I saw him, and he was a mechanic at Settle Motor Car Company. And that's my very first student that I ever had in my education. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I came down here and started teaching.
How has teaching changed since you taught your first class? And what are some of the challenges that new faculty in the automotive program face today?
Well, we don't teach wooden wheels anymore. That's how long I've been in the business. When I first started teaching, you could really fix things. I mean, you would take things off, disassemble them, overhaul them, put them back together again. Now everything is virtually hermetic and electronic. If you go out to your advisory committee and you ask them, what do you want our students to have? It's always electronic and electricity capabilities and integrity. Integrity is always important. So with aftermarket companies rebuilding transmissions with warranties on, rebuilding engines and stuff, the major overhaul stuff is pretty well gone. It's fun, it's still there, hobbyists use that. But when I started in this industry, everything had an adjustment to it, everything had a replacement part, and you actually did things. Now everything is troubleshooting through electronic devices and replacing components. Everything is on computers. So you're required to know basically every technical approach of the automobile, which changes all the time, and also know everything about a computer, especially on associate degree level at a community college, because so much of what we're required besides teaching auto mechanics, the auto mechanics part is easy. And maybe it's because I'm a program head, but keeping up with all the technology to be able to do online classes and just computers and computers and computers. And when I first started teaching, there weren't computers around. As a matter of fact, I was the last person on this campus to ever receive a computer, because this building here was not hooked up to internet and stuff that they needed to run a line to it and stuff. So the whole ball game has changed. It's totally electronics now. You have to be a person that can change parts and do all the other stuff, but you have to be electronics, computer, well-qualified person. There's more computer technology on a modern automobile than on the first space shuttle that went to the moon.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Good fact. Interesting fact. Okay. You have an opportunity now to say thank you to those who work with you throughout the years. Who comes to mind? Not just in the division. It could be someone outside Thomas Nelson, but who comes to mind?
Who comes to mind? Well, since I started at Thomas Nelson Community College, I have had 9 division deans. First one was John Lawrence. He's now gone. 9 different supervisors evaluated me. And as I look at this list of supervisors, I see some that if I wasn't retired military, I wouldn't get a good evaluation. They were retired military officers and stuff. If I hadn't come from a math background or whatever, and there was always biases. And one of the things that nobody likes that I do like is a state pay salary at one time. It didn't matter what your evaluation was, if you got an excellent or very good, you still got your increase, 4%, whatever. Well, we don't worry about that anymore because there is no increases. That's why I'm retiring for another 2 years. But in all fairness, besides my lab assistant, Zeke Broadley, who's still with us, that was a really wonderful person. That a program is not just the teaching of what's there, it's the people. It's the people that make the program. But I've been amazed with the hard work and the fairness of Pat Taylor. It's she does her job well, she works hard, and she's fair, and she's good at it. I don't see how in the world anybody can accomplish what she has to do. And out of the 9 different division deans I've had, that was the first one from this college ever was in our division was Sean Lawrence. He was number 1. So I've worked with all of them. And if you're asking me for a person I respect the most that I think has done a good job, is she's made the playing field fair.
Now, our service awards theme is working together. Is there a department or a committee that you've served on where everyone came together and as a result, the end result was even better than you could have imagined?
Okay. Well, one of the problems we have with the automotive program is there's funding for computers, there's funding for audiovisual supplies, there's funding for everything but training aids in the automotive area. we do not have any fund. And for so long, we kept trying to ask somebody, say, hey, I mean, we've got the highest producing program per faculty in our division here, 25 persons for every class, and nobody gives us any training aids, period. And it just became a real problem. And it didn't matter what meeting it was, as a department head, I had to bring that up. Well, when President, what's our president's name? I forget. Oh, Mr. Chestniter, and I'm sorry, he keeps calling me a car guy, and I talk cars with him, but right now I just couldn't think of that name. When President Chestniter came on board, I addressed him in front of the whole faculty and said, we need cars. And he came up with a solution. State has no money. We don't have a budget set aside. So let's get our cars. And he presented us with a proposition of putting out a car show. And to put on a car show, it was a big job, okay? Because the fact that, and we work with the foundation. And the foundation, Lisa Riley, who's the lady's name over there, Vivian, and Dr. Calloway and stuff. Those people just took charge of that and just worked with us and walked it through, and they are just good. They work with you good, and the first year we ended up making $5,500. We bought a 2005 Pontiac training aid. It's outside right now. It's a beautiful car with all the new technology on it. And they just pulled that operation together for professionalism, whether it was from the campus police, whether it was from operations or whatever. And we put a car show together that had close to 178 cars and went off without a hitch and got all kinds of compliments. Exposed the college to the community, good publicity for the school. The program didn't need the publicity because it's already full, but it was there. So I think the group that had worked with me the most was the president and the foundation, because they gave us a solution to our problem. And we have to get it by doing it work ourselves, but that's part of no money.
Would you come back next year and help out with the next show?
Yeah, I asked to be on the planning committee, and I look forward to that because a couple reasons. Because Mr. Bird's my assistant, it's going to be in charge of the whole thing, and for you to walk out and leave him would be terrible. But I plan on staying with that car club committee and stuff, and I will be teaching as an adjunct on Fridays here, and that will help the administration. So. I was very impressed with the foundation. Mm-hmm.
Now's your chance to really look into the camera, to speak to new faculty, maybe your replacement that's coming into this program. What advice would you give him or her?
Well, the VCCS, or the community college experience, is very rewarding, but it's demanding. It doesn't matter what your job description is. You're going to be asked to do everything to be part of the team. You can't write everything down. Everything that you need to do, whether it's a faculty or a program head or something like that. And it's going to be stressful and it's demanding. But this world today is stressful and demanding. You're asked a lot to do a lot. One of the things in my career that has stuck with me was a statement in my job interview that the division dean, John Lawrence, told me. And what he said is, the bottom line is, Ken, is we're here for one particular reason, and that's to serve the community. And when you keep that in mind, that you're here to serve the community and give this community the best education that they can have, is you're going to get through these things. But everybody in the community college system, faculty, people who clean the halls and everything, work hard. It's a hard job. It's demanding. It's commitment after commitment after commitment. But when you go out there and you see somebody that in working in a job that you've helped succeed and set an example to, and you are very instrumental in their lives. They look at you as a person, they look at you as a reference, they look at you as somebody to look up to. So you have to set an example and be a person. My philosophy of education is there was a principal at Poquoson High School named Dr. Boar, and that was one of the first years I taught. And he was a friend, he was a nice guy, but he had a line. There was a line, there was a mission. And the mission here in this particular program is to give job entry skills to automotive students. And the mission was always first, and the line was always there. I have a lot of friends, but I always look at the mission. My job here was to provide a program that would teach the students job entry skills so they could get a job and make a living. And when the decision came what to do, it was always the mission. So basically what I'm saying to you is fulfilling, but it's demanding. Would I do it all over again? You bet.